What's up, everybody? We are now live reacting to Gary V's brand new NFT. We're going to first warm up the room. Roberto, how are you? Welcome to the channel. This is the first time you're on my channel. I know we filmed a video before. For those who don't know, can you quickly introduce yourself as people are jumping in, introduce who you are?
Yeah, so my name's Roberto Blake. I am a creative entrepreneur and I'm a creator coach, helping you learn about the creator economy and how you can make money, stop being a starving artist. No more starving artists, cut it out. So yeah, I teach people how to make money online and how to do dope stuff and promote themselves with the tools, social media, the platforms, all the things.
Very cool. Honestly, before this conversation, Roberto was telling me about all these tools I had no idea about. Like honestly, if there's one tool
I need to be making right now, yeah.
You need to make that. Okay, so just a sneak peek. What is one tool every YouTube creator needs to download right now? If there's only one tool you recommend.
If you can only download what? Actually, you don't even need to download it, but this tool actually helps a lot. With just anything. Canva is like, a lot of people probably know about that, but like they probably don't know everything Canva can do and like how good it is. So like I would recommend playing with Canva. So that one's huge. Another one is straight up StreamYard. StreamYard is like the best.
StreamYard, we're using this right now.
Right now. Yeah, we're using it right now. Like if you want to collab with people, StreamYard. It's like the best. And yes, they are a sponsor of mine. They're not sponsoring this episode or anything, but like, yes, StreamYard. All the bigger YouTubers are using this because it's just easy. And it's also not just good for the collabs, but for like, if you want to do reaction videos or you want to screen record stuff, it's just
you're going to see.
You
guys are going to see. We like figured out a way to like download the video with the audio sharing and it automatically like sizes it. I just want to shout out everybody. We got Tyler. What's up, Tyler? Maria, Lorenzo. Media. We got Think Media?
Yeah, we got Think Media.
Sean, let's go. Is that Sean or who is it on there? Let's go.
Sean Paul, okay. What's up?
Hey. Well, you guys are watching the replay. I'm sure my editors are going to take this into an actual video, but I will put a timestamp if you're watching the replay where we actually react to VeeFriends. You know, me and Roberto are, I would say, crypto observers and researchers for the creator economy. So we know a thing or two, and we're not just going to react, but also think about the bigger picture, why this is so important. Yeah. So I guess like before we react to it, maybe we should just start off explaining like, why is this such a big deal? Like, you know, you came to me and were like, we should react to this. I was like, yes, but like, why do you think to the average person this is so monumental?
Okay, so there's a couple of different things going on because I don't think it's about the average person. The average person is starting to dip their toe into crypto, just like how normies eventually figured out the internet and YouTube. You and Jade, you know this. Like when you were like 15, 16, it was the beginning of like YouTube being a household name. You were super into it since you were a little kid, but that was only for like the weird kids, the nerds, the like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you were, I were, but like the internet was like a niche thing. The internet only became popularized recently for like normies. And the same thing with cryptocurrency. Like, that's why like everybody that's like been early adopters is like, yeah, and it's like getting in crap at like a fraction of a penny and getting rich now, Doge millionaires and stuff. Like, it's because early adopters are in before it gets good, right? So what I think about this is like the big thing with me with the NFTs is the digital art part. But because remember what I said, I'm about no more starving artists. No more starving artists. Okay?
Holy shit, there's a pencil.
Giant pencil. It's into my thumbnails. It's like, you know, it's my props. But like, okay, no more starving artists. Traditional artists have always had a struggle. Digital art made artwork scalable, but wasn't respected as a medium by the pretentious czars of taste in digital art. I mean, sorry, in regular traditional art. Digital scales, though. Print on demand, for hoodies, posters, t-shirts. Look at people growing based on their art off of Instagram profiles and everything instead of having to be in a gallery somewhere. And so, yeah, digital art hasn't been respected, but it was mainstreamed and you could go ahead and you could be part of that without having to be someone who is the more pretentious Manhattanite and still appreciate art, okay? Crypto art takes it to another level because then scarcity, which has been reserved for traditional art, now gets applied to somewhat digital in terms of limited runs, just like prints, but also certificates of authenticity. So it's actually harder to actually fake digitally because you know, and be a hacker.
It's encrypted. There's like the giant database. Like for those who don't know, like
The ledger, yeah.
blockchain is nothing more than a spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet. So people publicize their transactions, but it's all encrypted and cryptographic words. So could keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, it's a digital ledger. It's a public digital ledger, and it's encrypted, and it's awesome. And the thing is, it has transparency in transactions. So the thing is, there's actually a chain of custody. So that means if I buy a digital asset, Jade, and then I were to say, okay, if I buy a digital asset from you, right? You're the seller, you're the creator. I buy a digital asset from you, and it's digital crypto art, or a crypto token of some kind, even if it's utility. The thing is, if I were to then say, hey, I'm going to transfer that and I'm going to resell it for 10x because I can, for whatever reason, you wouldn't make any more money and I would keep all of it. But the thing is, with crypto, you can you can build it into the transaction to give yourself a royalty every time your thing is resold. So even if it increases in value, you're getting a chunk of that on every sale of it, which...
Yeah, I mean, I'm a giant cult leader. Darmanation, let's go. I mean, okay, I think Meee asks, how much ETH do you guys have ready? I mean, I put in like $200 for my MetaMask, so I don't know if that's going to buy anything.
I put in four.
Okay,
because I'm still holding some.
What up?
I
hold my ETH. ETH's going up right now. I'm trying to hold it.
I know. Okay. That's why I still hold. That's why I'm still holding. I'm like, hey. I mean, I think Ether's gonna. I'm not gonna tell you guys how high I think Ether's gonna go, but it's like I wouldn't be surprised if Ether.
This is not financial advice.
For entertainment purposes only.
This is literally for entertainment. But okay, like I said, the reason why we're reacting to this video and why it's so important is I totally agree with Roberto. Like, I think that if there's this narrative of starving artists, maybe you're watching this video and you love making content, but you don't find the financial like sign up and you want to look at monetize. There's a bunch, right? There's many ways in Web2 that currently exists. Merch. I think you have like an infographic about it. Affiliates, brand deals. Actually. But there's this new way. Oh, wait, what? He has it printed!
Yeah, the next time I go to a physical event, I've got these for every seat. Like, let's go. Let's go.
Smart. So, Roberto has this like infographic, which is pretty sick on Pinterest and everywhere now at this point. But there's this new way to make money, right? Because that was Web 2. Web 3 is where I think creators should look. Maybe this is the first way it's going to get brought to the world is through Gary Vee in this video. So this is the first time you're hearing it. You're welcome. But I think in the future, this is going to be well adopted. And I believe everybody at some point will purchase. Just how Patreon and physical merch is so easy to support a creator. I feel like in the future, that's going to be one of the most popular ways to support your artist, but also for you to get a financial gain as a viewer. Okay. So if you want to stop being broke, watch this video.
Well, the way Gary's doing it is so interesting. You guys are going to see it's so interesting because there's multiple layers to what Gary is doing. But I think the word that we're going to use with regard to this is the word experience. But like, because like Gary Vee's creating an experience with his launch, and that's what I think is so dope.
All right, are we ready to react?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have 48 people here. What's up, guys? I will answer your questions. Me and Roberto will, by the way, we have questions from Twitter and live. We'll answer it right after. So stay along. We're going to actually, thank you for sharing StreamYard with me. We're going to actually place the video on the screen right now. Are you ready, Roberto?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. So welcome to VeeFriends. We're going to play the video. Comment below. You can make sure we double check the audio, but make sure you guys comment below when you guys can hear the video. Hopefully it works.
Welcome to VeeFriends.com. VeeFriends is an ambitious NFT project around characters that have traits that I believe in.
First of all, I love the drawings.
He did them himself. He did.
They're
Gary
kind of
hand drew these characters himself.
I didn't realize he actually drew them. Like, I thought he was going to hire, like...
He has undeveloped artistic ability. He just never pursued it. He always used to doodle, and he just never pursued it. He could have been an artist like me.
I mean, look at me. Like, we're both we're all artists. Okay, but honestly, because a lot of, if you guys don't know, if you ever go on Rarible or any marketplace that sells NFTs, the art is very, very, like, very high production, kind of like...
So much that I want people to aspire to. They also happen to be a token to a conference that I'm going to put on every single year called VCon, V Conference.
Okay, pause here. So Gary is doing something really interesting with this, and this is why people need to understand what a non-fungible token is and why it can be art, but it could also be a utility. Most people just collect the art, like you said, when that's the high-end art. That's the collector's piece. That's the whole pretentious, like, oh, here's like my art on display and talent and everything like that. Like really dope people like Beeple or Elise Swopes, people like that. Okay, but with Gary, he knows that the artwork, aside from for his hardcore fans, would not be valuable enough by itself, aside from the fact that he's Gary Vee. The artwork is just a delivery mechanism, and the token's value is this experience. The fact that for 3 years you get a pass to VCon, his physical event.
Is it every year? Every year you go to this event?
You get 3 years of the event when you
buy
any
a steal.
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
I don't think people. Okay, so I saw this comment. By the way, I'm reading comments from the live stream, so feel free to keep chatting.
By the way, if you push a button, you can actually show the comments on the screen. If you push
the
comment, if you hover over the comment and you push the word show, you can show the comment you want on the screen.
Okay, you are insane. This is so cool. So I just saw this comment. Oh my god, this is so sick. I think a lot of people were talking about the environmental impacts. I just want to quickly preface this. We're going to answer this at the end. I did a whole study about this because it's funny how there's a lack of information on this. So just want to let you know, I will address this at the end, and I'll probably put a timestamp. But I quickly do want to go onto the question that Nick said, which is, NFTs being a scam. And I think this takes out the scam. There's actual utility behind what he's doing, which I think was one of the, honestly, as a prospector looking at NFTs selling for 20 ETH, 50 ETH, everything like that, I'm like, okay, it's literally a screenshot of the Mona Lisa. I think that when artist ties it to the art with a value and the art signifying almost representation, I think that's actually not a scam. Because think about it, I paid thousands of dollars for events before, and for 3 years of it, I'm not exactly sure the price of this NFT, which that's a question I do have. But I think it's definitely a steal. This is valuable.
Nick thinks him selling scribbles on the internet so you can meet him once a year is a scam. Nick, tell all the Taylor Swift fans that paying for a VIP ticket's a scam. It's like, Nick, you a fan of music, man? How much would you spend to go to an Eminem concert, Nick? For real, I'm asking. I want to know because here's the thing. I'm like, look, even my homie CoffeeZilla doesn't sit here and won't think that this is a scam. I guarantee you, because it has actual utility. Because the thing is, you can say you don't value the physical product of going to an event. You may not value the physical product of going to VidCon, but YouTubers who are fans of YouTube creators actually pay money to go to VidCon and meet their favorite creator all the time. And none of those kids are going to tell you that it's a scam because they're buying a ticket. The art is not what's the real product here. It's just a expression, and it's just a fun, quirky thing that people do for their fan base, which people do all the time. So to say it's insulting, it's okay, that's you, homie. If you think it's insulting because you don't care about who Gary Vee is and everything like that, tell me who your favorite musician is, and so I can say that their music sucks, because that's just an empty opinion, dude. People pay money to meet Eminem, they pay money to meet Eminem, they pay money to meet Taylor Swift and everything. If you're a Swiftie or if you're an M fan, then that's dope, and you'll pay whatever it costs. But the thing is, if you don't like their music and everything like that, but that's on you. That's on you. You see what I'm saying? So it's
I see what you're saying.
Is what it is.
Multi-day event that is going to rival some of the greatest conferences in the world around entrepreneurship, marketing, ideas, creativity, competition, meeting new friends. It's a community. It will be my great honor to create an ecosystem around the access tokens that are a huge part of this project. Hangout time, group stuff.
Okay, so there's more than just apparently the event. There's so this is where he's organized. He's explaining each layer of NFT. There's different access points.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, is this virtual, or this is only in the VCon?
No, these are some things are virtual and some things are physical.
That's sick.
So VCon is physical because that's his new conference. That's his, whole thing. And then you have these other micro meetups, because I've been to a lot of his pop-ups and micro meetups. This is going to mean that this is more VIP. So it's going to be a smaller group of people. And the thing is, he's making it not just about himself, but about community. Because if you go to Gary Vee stuff, sometimes you'll meet people like Jessica Alba or Damon John or other people you might care about, Charlie D'Amelio. So there's access to his network.
That's facts.
Yeah. VIP access to a celebrity network through a bowling party or something like that. That's not a small thing. That's pretty dope.
No, I just like that like bowling. Like, first of all, like, yes, I probably would have assumed a FaceTime call, but like this is so creative. Like, I actually love the use case. Let's keep going.
Bowling,
I really like
tennis,
it.
bubble
Tennis!
hockey,
What the
video
fuck?
games, dinners, brunches, and then remind me what 555 gift codes.
Correct.
These are people who are gonna literally put in your address and stuff shows up. Hangout Hawk.
That's
Okay,
kinda
so that's
cool.
literally a subscription box. That's literally, he says, like, so the thing is, again, somebody calling this a scam is just uneducated, and that's fine, or you can be cynical, or you might not value it, but people's subscription box models. No, I like going in on people sometimes, but subscription box models.
He's going in on Nick.
Like, I mean, I doubt he's even here anymore, but I'm just saying, it's like, because again, like Jade, you know this. Everything on the internet's a scam. It's like, we're talking about a physical product, dude. Like, people buy subscription boxes. Like, you can get physical stuff. Like I said, even me, I bought this physical set of prints from Canva. Not sponsored, but like, I bought physical stuff from Canva, right?
Oh, that's sick.
Off the internet, right? People buy stuff off the internet. So if like you're part of this thing and you decide to buy the gift goat tokens, then you're getting like a Gary Vee subscription box that people can't even buy.
I have a question. So when he says, like, let me just play the video so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
5 times a year.
So you guys see how it's like 125 tokens with the virtual hangout. Like, I'm wondering, is he saying there's only 125 NFTs of this certain pass?
Of this certain pack, because that's what the minting of the NFT, that's what the rarity is. That's what the rarity is. And here's the thing. He's saying that the virtual hangout thing, he's saying this thing's going to happen 5 times a year. So 125 people are going to get to do a virtual hangout 5 times a year. So like, what, like, valuing that again is really, like, that's really interesting. It's really dope. And again, that limiting of how many people can do it increases the rarity, and it means that there might be people who resell that. The value of that could go up. It's kind of like how if you buy all of the PlayStations.
I saw the comment from Think Media. People can have the resale value also, and that's value too. So yeah, I mean, like, if it was something where maybe there was no blockchain and there's no like way to accountably track the resale value. Right. Yeah. Like, I think that this is not only value for like the consumer, but like financially, it's an asset almost. Like, NFTs are also known as digital assets. And I think that is so interesting too. So say you're like, hey, I don't like Gary no more, but I want to resell it. Gary gets a kickback, of course, because of the way the smart contracts work. But I think that's super cool.
No, I do too. And the thing is, this isn't cool just for Gary. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but this is a model. He's showing us how it's done as per usual.
Okay, let's keep going. We just love to interact. And
You're in a Zoom for 3 years, 15 sessions? That's crazy. How many access tokens are there just one-on-one with me?
108.
Just think about that. That's the #1 request I get every single day. I think it's all about IP. I think all the pipes are dumb. What you fill it with is everything.
And even in my field of like hip hop, I think like when we look at Mickey or Disney, or we look at like Hello Kitty,
there's so much.
What's that?
R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Sending them.
I've been thinking about creating characters because I've always loved Disney. I've always loved the Get Along Gang and Snorks. You know how many times I referenced Wuzzles?
Really
you know what was?
That beaver he was doing was really good.
That's pretty
I buy
fire.
stuffed animals, mugs with pop culture on it, all the same game. It was built for this moment, so now I've got to create mine. This was reverse engineered.
So what he said about IP, let's stop here. What he said about IP, and he talked about properties like the Smurfs, which like I've known that since I've been growing up because I'm an 80s kid. Like Smurfs, Snorks is way before your time. I don't know if you know about Snorks.
What the heck is Snorks?
Care Bears is what you'd be familiar with, like stuff like that. But here's the franchise. Here's the biggest intellectual property character franchise that's ever existed. What do you think it is?
Disney.
Pokemon.
What?
Pokemon. In terms of number of actual characters. Individual characters.
Oh my god, really?
There's almost 1,000 different Pokemon now. So I'm talking single franchise. Like, yeah.
The new Pokemon is CryptoKitties and whatever this is.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's over 100 individual Pokemon characters, and the thing is because they have the trademark, and so from a trademark and licensing standpoint, that's why. Because remember, Pokemon is only 25 years compared to like Disney or something like that. It's one of the shortest lifespans of intellectual property to have the largest database of characters ever.
I did not know that. See, it's interesting
it's
how
so
like
valuable.
we're talking about the utility, but imagine we might live in a world where, you know, once all this is gone, maybe I should put more money in my MetaMask now. But like when this is all gone, like people want the cool little like, you know, raccoon thinking. Like I think that the characters itself could have its own brand and identity.
That's
I think
the point of intellectual property. It's the trademarks. It's that Gary made himself 200 individual unique characters. There's value to that IP because every single one of those is a content farm. Every character IP that you have is a content farm. Think about how much is spent.
Yeah.
Think about how much is spun off of Mickey Mouse as a single character. Then think about like DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck, Donald Duck. Every character you have becomes this entity. And every one of those entities becomes, once you have characters as IP, you have your own in-house user-generated content in a way of the legacy of your characters. That's why Disney acquired Lucasfilm and acquired Marvel, is because of the intellectual property that they house under their umbrella.
I don't know if I told you this, Roberto, but so I saw this. So last year, 6 months ago, I started to think about like what my career wants to be and how I want to be more than just a YouTuber. So I started an agency. My company X8 has been going for a while, but I specifically wanted to double down in animation. So currently we help we help some TikTok animators with brand deals, merchandise, B2B products, but also D2C products. So one of our creators we manage is called King Science. He's currently at 11 million followers on TikTok. He's the current #1 animator on TikTok. I can't believe I didn't tell my YouTube. I actually haven't told anybody this. It's so random. I just do this secretly. But like the one thing that I saw, and he even mentioned this to me, he's like, when I die, my character still lives. And like, this is so interesting. Like, I think Disney, as a personal brand, it's so intensive. Like we have to film, we have to do this. And I think that when you are able to IP yourself, or in this case, cartoonize or animate yourself, you have
immortality.
Not only passive revenue, but legacy. And I think that's just so cool. So I really think that right now the animation community is growing really hot, but I think creators will start to animate themselves as well, like people that are like you and I, just like how Gary Vee did.
IP is immortality.
It really is.
IP is immortality. I believe it 100%.
For the Vaniacs, what they were called when we did Wine Library TV, the Vayner Nation, my community, the people I interact with all the time. It was very important to me when I structured this.
That's a good elephant.
It was a culmination of many things in my life. My interest around creating characters, my ambition to push certain
Also, I thought this was a joke, like he wasn't drawing all of them, but if you go to his Instagram, he literally drew every single one.
People don't understand that this is a long time. You know why I relate to this? I'm like, and the thing is, people think that people have talked to me and said like, oh, I think you emulate Gary Vee. It's like, no, I'm just like him. I'm just younger. Like I used to, this is like, you've heard my story before that like when I was a kid, I wanted to be an animator. I wanted to work for Disney and Marvel when I was a kid, but I was broke. I was poor. So like in our time, back in my day, computers were trash. Your phone is better than my computer from back in my day. And see, I can do voices because I grew up loving Robin Williams. I always wanted to make and be a cartoon character. I wanted to be a cartoon character from like the Who Framed Roger Rabbit and stuff like that. I wanted to be a cartoon character when I was a kid, Jade. So like, that's why I relate to Gary is I used to doodle and draw just like this every day instead of, I would rush through my schoolwork to do this. And then later it was to be on the internet. Yeah.
Okay, also, I just see a lot of people asking about like what an NFT is. I'll probably answer that at the end. We're almost over the video.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, like, I know it sounds like we're Gary fanatics. Like, not gonna lie, I think we both maybe can say we're part of the cult or the Vayner Nation, whatever you want to call it.
I'm like,
but I do have to say, so I follow Gary since like, you know, the beginning. And I think 2017 is when I really started to watch Daily V every single day. So then I stopped. Like, I think you go through a Gary phase where you watch Gary every single day, but then you actually grind and do what he says. So I haven't watched his content for like 3 years, literally 3 years. So like, by the way, if you think I'm Gary fanatic, I was a Gary fanatic. I'm still there, but like I was gone for a little bit. So I was kind of like a spectator. Long story short, This brought me back. Okay. I'm shocked.
Well, that and when he was doing Tea with Gary Vee, when he was helping like other people through COVID.
See, Gary Vee just I thought he was gonna be like the one-time Daily V, like that's a peak of him. But he keeps like doing cool things, so that's why I respect him.
He evolves like a freaking Pokemon.
He's literally a real life Pokemon.
He's a Pokemon, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this.
Attributes in humanity, a conference that I've been dying to put on for years, and access. When I sat back and said, what's the biggest thing I can give them? Time. You want to go sit courtside with me at a Knicks game? Here we are. I'm trying to build a blueprint for everybody that has an audience of how to do a proper NFT project.
See, that's the thing. And by the way, there are people, we'll let this finish out here.
Okay, well, that was it, I think. It was a nice little catchphrase.
So there are people, like, people are talking about the art part of it and like, you know, like, oh, my kid can... Like, Josh, we're just having a conversation. This isn't a formal interview and everything like that. It's like, and if you ever meet me in real life and everything like that, I won't just talk over Jade. I'll talk over Gary V too. I'll talk over President Obama.
He does talk over everybody.
Yeah. So like, thanks, Josh. It's like, yeah. But if it's a formal interview, I'll try to manage my ADHD and I will try a lot harder. But I'm just excited and I'm hanging with my homie. But what I will say is... The art thing, I think it's fine that Gary is not the best artist in the world because I don't think you should let not being like perfect stop you from doing something.
Yeah, I think that oh, look at that, guys. If Roberto talks too much, if Roberto talks too much, I'll take over. Okay, no, I'm joking. I just found the switcher.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Well, okay, so we just finished the video. I think that first of all, they edited it like an Apple ad. I'm so shocked of how they were able to put all 3 minutes of a very complex topic into that video. It was pretty great. It's pretty great. I mean, I do have some critiques. Me and Roberto were like, how do we still buy this? There's like still a lot of questions we have. But in terms of like a high level, because I really just want to, you know, I know my audience is half think media, but also half people who might not know crypto really well. So I just really want to quickly answer this question that I see popping up repetitively, which essentially is I don't understand the NFTs. So I'm just going to recap what we just saw real quick. Sounds good, guys? So NFTs are nothing more than a digital trading card that unlock traits or access points. Okay. So imagine it's nothing more than I used to go to New York, you know, before lockdown, and you know, the Metro card, right? It accesses you into the subway, right? But there's also money on there, right? There's also value onto it. So imagine like a Metro card or NFT or trading card, but the difference is instead of just you get access points to that, you can also resell it and the owner of it gets a kickback. And it's through something called the blockchain or recorded on the blockchain, which is essentially it's a giant public database / ledger. And for now, you have to buy this through a currency called Ethereum. So you can't buy it in USD. You can't buy it on fiat. That's the one thing I read on the website. They don't have like a credit card. You have to have a wallet, a crypto wallet. So I hope that makes sense, you guys. What Gary Vee is doing is creating trading cards that access points to his life and events that people already pay for. I feel like people forget that.
Calling it a trading card because that handles the art piece.
Right.
Like put it like this. It's no different than buying an event ticket that's like a digital swipe card and you can't access the ballroom level or the VIP lounge if your card isn't coded to swipe the right door. Okay.
You have a Discover card?
Yeah, this is just one of my credit cards I just pulled up just to make the whole swiping a card thing. So
don't turn it around. Don't turn it around, Roberto. Don't turn it around.
Yeah, no. But like, all right. So like if you want to swipe an access point, okay, just like you were talking about checkpoints, if your card isn't coded for your level of access, you don't get any further. This opens doors. That's what the token is. The token is just a way of doing that. Now, the thing is, the beauty of it is you can, just like an event ticket, just like how scalpers can scalp event tickets, you could just resell this thing for more than what you paid for, and people get all of the things that go along with it, and all that access transfers to them. It's just actually legal for you to do it, and there's a record in the ledger called the blockchain that says, hey, you, this is now transferred from party A to party B. Here's the difference, though. When you sell and you scalp a ticket, the original ticket seller doesn't get any additional money. But with NFTs, that's true. The other thing is, with concert tickets and things like that, you can trade one concert ticket for another. Or when something's fungible, if you want to understand the non-fungible part, Jade, if I were to give you $100 and I give you $100 bill, you can give me back 10 tens, and that's equal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes, or you can give me back 5 20s. That's what fungible is. Money is fungible. Human beings are not fungible. One Roberto is not one Jade. It's unique. It's unique. So the thing is, these individual things, even if there's 25 of them, each of them is unique, just like how in prints, when you sell physical art and it's runs of a physical reproduction, it's got a number usually on the back of the painting that says it's number 1 of the series versus number 2, number 5. That's why they say, oh, there's only 3 of this art left all over the world. There were 10 of them and only 3 survived since the 1950s or whatever in the war. And so that's the rarity part of it. So we've addressed the fact that something's non-fungible when it's unique and basically has its own serial number, and when it can't be exchanged for another of its kind because it's unique. It's like DNA. That's the non-fungible part. The token part is the fact that it's a smart digital contract that can track ownership and that can also give royalties to the person who originally created it. Every time it's resold, the person who originally sold it gets a cut every time it's resold. So that is basically your rundown on NFTs, non-fungible tokens. You now know what non-fungible is, and now you understand the value of a token.
Thank you, Roberto. We're going to quickly answer some questions from Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I honestly have been going through a Twitter, like you probably know me as like social media gal, but I'm literally crypto cult connoisseur on Twitter. So if you want to know more about NFTs, I just retweet a bunch of stuff. So the first question we have is from Troy. I don't know why I can't put it on my screen. I'm sorry, guys. But it says best platforms for creators to use their NFTs to and allow seamless use of real world utility as well. Hope that makes sense. So I do have an answer to this question because something that I want to announce that I briefly announced in my last few videos. For those who don't know, if you're watching this if you're from Roberto's audience or you're watching this from Twitter, I do 2 things. So I have my YouTube channel where I talk about creator economy, and me and Roberto actually have a whole strategy about it, which actually will be a really cool video to share later. But the second thing I do is I work with creators on helping them launch Web3 products right now. So with the animators we work with, we're currently building on a platform called Coinvice. You guys can check it out. It's essentially, it's a way for creators to launch their own NFTs and social tokens. That's a whole other conversation I'll go into. But the reason why we're really excited about that is in terms of the real world utility. I mean, in terms of like, say you're an artist or a filmmaker and you have an event, you have to have a way for people to maybe show their collectible or their NFT before getting in. And typically you show it through something called a wallet. A wallet is where you store all your assets and NFTs. There's a bunch of wallets called MetaMask. Coinbase has a wallet literally called Wallet. So in terms of like how you design it, I think it depends on like where you plan to verify it. But I'm using Coinvice. There's also Rarible, OpenSea, Mirror, and Zora. And there's a bunch of others, but it has different use cases. I would say if you're trying to build something on the marketplace, you're trying to leverage other people's audiences, launch it on a marketplace like OpenSea, Rarible. But if you want to have it something that you already have an audience, right? Like Gary Vee, why did he not launch on OpenSea? It's because he already has a cult following. So he put it on his own website, right? So if you want to drive traffic to your own place because you can, I would recommend looking into Mirror or potentially what we're doing, Coinvice. Anyways, I hope that answers your question, Troy. I don't know if, Roberto, you have any thoughts around that, or are you launching anything in your world?
Well, we'll talk about I guess we can talk about our NFT strategies a little later here.
Wait, really? Okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But no, I was actually taking notes on what you were saying and everything because I'm like super into, I need to make some videos explaining some of all this to people. Because like people are gonna want to know, but also Web 3.0 is super, super interesting. But like, yeah, let's take some more questions.
Okay, yeah. Someone was asking what is Web3. I should probably make a whole video on that too.
I was going to make a video on that. Yeah.
Okay, I will. Thank you guys. Okay, so the next question we have actually, Roberto, this will be something that you might be able to answer. Use cases for filmmakers that you see with NFTs. Like just, Gary Vee's use case is like him giving utility access points to conferences and marketing. What are some examples just to draft up filmmakers?
Is the filmmaker trying to be known for the films they make or for their filmmaking expertise would then be the question. because there's a difference between a filmmaker that wants to be known for the films that they make, like our friend Swoop, versus a filmmaker that is helping you become a filmmaker.
I
say,
see.
Peter McKinnon.
Let's do like a why did I only think about Steven Spielberg? But it's like someone that is a producer of the film.
Yeah. Okay. So you see what musicians are doing right now, right? They're doing exclusive like album drops, or they're doing like what used to be called, they used to like leak the album, or they used to do like here's the demo tape or something like that, and they used to like, you know, put that out back in the day. Like back in the day, they used to like make that a torrent, and they used to make it to where they used to hype their own thing by they used to hype their own thing. You're just playing around now. Like, they used to hype their own thing by kind of almost like setting it up for piracy. But now, instead of piracy and them not making money, I think the new game is going to be, they're going to do an NFT drop the way that Supreme does these limited run merch drops. So the thing is, I think that like what people are going to do is they're going to like drop and hype the exclusivity of the fact that only a certain amount of people will ever actually get to see this thing, which means it then becomes like this experience.
Movie premiere, like a exclusive movie premiere.
Exactly, as exclusive. But
Nice.
the thing is, it might be an exclusive movie premiere, but the thing is, they could do something like the Snyder Cut. You know how like what DC did with the Snyder Cut, where it's like, oh, here is literally a completely different version of that film that we released.
Yes.
So imagine that, like, okay, here all the people got to see the regular film, and it was what I had to do, and what, like, you know, made it like, but here is the director's cut, but only exclusive.
That's so cool. Like a behind the scenes. Like I actually like that. Like
but no,
I
it's beyond the scene. It's not behind the scenes, because you could do that too. But
Yeah.
a director's cut is just, here's how I could have done it. Here's the alternate ending. Here's how I would have done it if I didn't have to cut down for time. Here's how, if I could have made my definitive vision,
like
even if it's like
scenes. Ugh.
exactly all the extra
That's
scenes,
so
because
sick.
then it's produced as a final product, because like, you know how like I can see the extra scenes on a DVD, you're not seeing them as they were meant to be in the film itself, because the
fire.
film then had to get cut down to like 2 hours or some stuff. Now you could get that 3.5 hour film the way that the person imagined it in their head.
I have another idea, Roberto. Are you ready? Just to backpack off this. Because I think a lot of people, I just saw a question. I couldn't pop it up because it's back there, but it was like, are NFTs exclusive for people that are celebrities and influencers? Honestly, I think for now, yes. Majority of it, yes. For the sole reason of it's the easiest way to execute. However, I think in the future, we're going to move into a world where you don't have to just be a creator. You could be a part of a collective effort of creating projects. There's this project called Song Camp. You guys can check it out. Song Camp is where artists come together, literally like a TikTok house, but in this case, a virtual house, and they make a song. They list it as an NFT, and the royalties split between those 5 artists. I just had a call this morning with the founder of this creator organization, house, NFT project. His name is Matthew. And he was saying like, these people maybe don't have followings, but together we market it. So I think that the reason why I bring this up is this is the same way in the film industry, right? Like you imagine you're a filmmaker, you come with another like an actor or like an influencer who helps produce it. Everyone splits the royalties. You create like this bonus of an extra cut. Another idea I do have as well to this is something that we're doing in my company is, say any token holder for the, we work with animators. So say anyone who purchases King Science's token or Nutshell, we also work with another one. They can become background characters in the TV show or animation, like a cartoon. Like imagine you're The Simpsons and like in the back, you're walking around. Like you could also virtually, I think animation's cool because you can do this. It's the only one that makes sense. But you can put your fans or token holders in the video. There's a creative direction involved maybe. I think that is super cool. Like imagine, one of my favorite TV shows growing up was, I would say, well, it's kind of embarrassing. What did you grow up watching, Roberto, actually?
Back in my day, no, because back in my day, you had all the original stuff. You had the best version of Batman and Spider-Man was the 1990s animated series, Batman the Animated Series, which I think won awards. It was one of the first animated things to win awards. Spider-Man the Animated Series back then, so that's the 90s. Back in the 80s, we had Thundercats and we had He-Man and She-Ra, and we had G.I. Joe and the original Transformers, Generation 1, homies. So like you had all that, which by the way, IP, this is what we keep talking about, IP. Here's the thing, I see somebody in the chat is being a little bit jaded, and I'm not
Don't use that word.
I'm not trying to dunk on them, but I'm like, there's this really cynical and really, I'm like, it makes me sad. It makes me sad that people sit there and they think that when we talk about this stuff that, oh, this is only for famous influencers, this is only for rich people, and this is like, it's like, no, it's easier for rich people to do everything. That's facts. Guess what? It's easier for pretty people like us to do everything too. It's also easier to do things if you're strong or you're tall or you're this or that. It doesn't mean that just because the majority of people who aren't that lose, doesn't mean that it has to be that way. It's mostly that you're thinking that way, and then you're not playing the game on terms where someone like you can win. Because here's the thing. I can teach people how to win, Jade, without an audience, because all they have to do is remember that nobody cares about them yet. Like, when I started from zero, I had to remember that nobody cared about me. You know how I got around that, Jade? I made content that wasn't about me. I made content that was about the person watching. So I taught people the tools that I was using to make a living when I was broke, how I learned how to get a good job, even as a community college dropout. All right, here's the skills that let me get a good job. Here's how a starving artist that thinks that they're like, okay, I can't do anything because I don't have a following. You know what has a following, Jade? A bunch of IP, a bunch of characters that have entered the public domain because the trademark and copyright on is expired.
Whoa, the pencil's out. The pencil's out. You know, Roberto's getting serious.
See,
yeah, I mean,
almost all these mythological figures, like there's all the mythological figures, all the great pantheons of the Greek and the Egyptian gods and all of that. No trademark, homie. And see, that's something that you can take advantage of. Last time I checked, I think figures like Robin Hood, I don't think there's like I think it's public domain now. I think that there's most of the, like, that's why you can, Disney actually started out a lot of that too, Jade, is they went to things when they wanted to do a lot of the Disney classics off of the fairy tales. They had to go to things that were public domain that they could riff off of and that they could make their own version of. Anybody can find a public domain character that people would know and recognize. If they don't know you, find a public domain character they know and then make the dopest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some legality with that. I actually have looked into that a little bit, but a lot of artists on OpenSea especially are literally creating re-editions of Beeple style art. Like, it's a remix, right? So like, there's even like collections of Billie Eilish's figurine, but like in an NFT. Like, I think that there's so many ways to leverage artists that are maybe more popular that have an audience, but also the collective is still a real thing. Like, I have talked to this one artist called Engine, and he has, I think at the time, 800 followers on Twitter, like 800 followers Twitter. And I think one of his NFTs sold for $10,000, which right now is, I think, maybe 3.5 ETH. Back then it was like 10 ETH because, you know, ETH is going crazy right now. So I think that it's super important. It's not about audience. It's not about growth. It's not about having the largest following. It's having the right strategy. And I've seen a lot of projects, actually, I can keep going on, that don't leverage mass amount of following, but people that are fans of the protocol, fans of maybe the technology, or fans of the art itself. And there's so many ways to go beyond it. I think the only reason why we see Logan Paul and Gary Vee right now, and we only think it's celebrities, is because that's what we see. But I can give you a Twitter thread of people with, I'm sorry, no clout in a good way, but that are making projects, because it's not about reach. It's about the right strategy. Discord is a huge platform, Twitter, and you only need like 1,000 people. Maybe Roberto, you can go into the statement of like, this maybe solidifies the theory of 1,000 true fans, which we can go into, but like, it's not about mass audience. And if you don't even have 1,000 fans, join a collective. That's why TikTok House is, or you can see Song Camp launching very successful projects without necessarily millions of followers. Do you want to talk about the 1,000 fans?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, a book everybody here should read is our friend Pat Flynn's book, Superfans, because it like even takes this further, and it's the modern idea of this. But like, let me put it to you like this. If you had 1,000 people, because everyone thinks they need this big following, imagine if you had 1,000 people. If 1,000 people, if you create $100 in value that they are saying, hey, I'll give you $100 for that, or hey, you made this dope thing, I'll give you $100 for it, or you're creating this dope experience, I'll give you $100 for it. Or if you had enough t-shirts, hoodies, posters that after gross and after cost, you were making like $10 and somebody buys the whole collection because they're a diehard fan of yours. They're a super fan. They're the truest of your fans. They're the fanatics. Like with Gary Vee is doing this with the assumption that he has 10,000 fanatics. The rest of us can actually get to 1,000 fanatics if we are willing to pace ourselves, because the problem is too many of you are trying to get to something big and get these astronomical numbers in like 1 year. You're trying to go viral or blow up in 1 year. But think about it. If you actually give value to people and you spread that out over even just a few years, you could scale that. But here's another one for you, Jade. If you literally was sitting there and you were creating value for like 10 people a day, every single day, doing something that made 10 people every day ride or die for you, you'd have like 3,000 followers at the end of the first year. Okay. And so if 1,000 fans come through at $100, you made your first 6 figures off of your art, off of your experience, off of whatever. But imagine this, Jade, if you keep those 1,000 people loyal and you keep creating $100,000 in value for them, you do that 10 times. 1,000 people was all it took to put you at $1 million because you created $1,000 in value for 1,000 people. The reason that celebrities and like all these other big people and these big tech CEOs, the reason that they make so much money, Jade, is because the scale of the number of people that they actually created value for. That's all we're talking about here. Yeah, so it's somewhat easier when you have a bigger following. But the thing is, you could go and pull the old school game of 1-to-1, like Gary says, hand-to-hand combat of like, how much effort are you making to go deep with even like 3 people every single day, go deep and get them invested in you emotionally? Because if you did that every day, 365, you got 1,000 fans in 1 year that are ride or die for you because you had 1,000 conversations.
I also do have to say, this will go into a different topic. Thank you, Roberto. I think that one thing I want to add is, oh, by the way, you guys, gonna plug my Discord chat. I talk about NFT crypto stuff. Oh, you guys can join it here. Roberto, are you in my Discord yet? Join it right now.
I didn't even know you had one.
Join it. Okay, but as I was saying, one thing that because me and Roberto, I always like to clap back at anything. I do have to say, I don't want to oversimplify. Something that's really easy to do is oversimplify the idea of 1,000 true fans. I really don't believe it's something where you just pick a topic, and this is not what you're saying, but some people might perceive this as you pick a topic, you dive into that, you build an audience through that, and you monetize. The number one thing I think we forget as creators is this topic that I'm talking about serving me as a creator? And is this a value I still align with? Give yourself the ability to pivot when you decide to change between maybe you're a chef and you want to talk about finance, right? Like, allow yourself to shift. It's almost detrimental to build 1,000 true fans on something you don't give a shit about. I feel this 100%, and I'm not going to go into this right now, but the reason why this is so important is like, yeah, Jay, but money is money. But wait till we go into a world of social tokens where your fans not only become maybe people that buy your product, but stakeholders or people that govern your community, which I will go into later. Long story short, just imagine your audience having say in what you do in a way. And if you don't vibe and have similar values to that audience, it's going to be detrimental to your community and what you want to build. And at the end of the day, it's really important not to make money, but also to make something that makes you happy. So one thing I do have to say is it's okay if you take a little while to figure out what you want to build your 1,000 true fans. But the way you learn what you want to build your 1,000 true fans on is not by sitting there and waiting, but it's just doing it. And over time you evolve. But give yourself the permission to evolve if you guys are stuck there. Because I see a lot of your comments saying like, I don't know my niche or I don't know what I want to do. And I think it's important just to start with anything. And then over time you can evolve. Something that I'm doing is I like every day change who I am basically on the internet. And it's detrimental to business short term, but long term, I feel like I will align better with content that makes me happy. So for me, for example, I used to do a lot of how to grow an Instagram content. I don't really give a fuck anymore about that, to be very honest. I like it, but not every day talk about it. So now I think what makes me super excited is a mixture of creator economy content and surfing. So I'm doing that on TikTok. I make surfing vlogs, and on YouTube now you can see me talking about crypto creator stuff. And I think I took a long time to give myself that permission. So I just wanted to let you guys know that the 1,000 true fans can be easily simplified, but also give yourself the room to adapt. Do you have any words on that?
I do, because I mean, Gary is the example of that. But like, even what I was saying, remember what I said? I didn't even use the word niche or topic in anything I said earlier. I said conversations. I said get them invested in you. Remember? I said that.
I know.
And there's a reason. And there's a reason because like there is a way to get stuck in what you do, and there's an evolution. Because remember, like Gary Vee has evolved, but my issue with people is in the like you said, it's short term versus long term. Your 1,000 true fans are supposed to be lifetime value. That's why they're supposed to be your like secret society. That's why it's fine to build that over a decade. But the thing is, everyone overestimates what they can do in a year and underestimates what they can do in a decade.
A decade. Oh,
exactly.
Okay.
a decade. Everyone
underestimate.
Yeah, a decade. Like for real.
That's a long time. Oh my god.
But that's like, but it is. But it is. But the thing is, the time's gonna pass anyway. Like the time's gonna pass anyway. So the thing is, like building in layers to where, think about the evolution of Gary Vee. Gary Vee and his evolution, we've literally gotten to see his evolution of an almost 2-decade-long career. We've gotten to see an almost 2-decade-long career.
It's so cool to watch.
Yeah, that's like, you don't get to see that. We literally get to see when he literally couldn't talk to the camera in the first episode of Wine Library TV, and we got to see the evolution of 1,000.
So awkward. No, I'm joking. It was great. It was great.
It was for like, no, the first 60 episodes. He says it himself. The first 60 episodes. So like, okay. Just be evolve, like you said though, evolve. He was the wine guy, the brass, like Jersey wine guy. Then he was the social media guru and the public speaker who curses. Then he became everybody's quote unquote favorite motivational figure. Now he's leading the charge on digital crypto art.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. I want to be up there. I'm fighting for that spot. You guys, give me a boost, y'all. Share this video to a friend so I can be the second into chair for.
I mean, look at Jessica Alba's career. That's so true. I just want to quickly say, someone was talking about gas fees. So I want to quickly talk about this because it will lead to my environmental question. And Roberto, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it too, but I think I really want to talk about this because I can't sit here and talk about NFTs without addressing this really important comment, which is about not only the cost, but also the energy impact. So quickly, Jade will talk a 5-minute rant, if that's okay, about my studies on the crypto and environmental impact. So first of all, for those who don't know, gas fees are the cost per anything in the blockchain. If you want to mint a token, if you want to burn a token, if you want to exchange, there's something called a gas fee. It's literally what it sounds like, gas, like it powers it. The gas fees don't go to a random organization. It literally goes to whoever helps mines that thing. So another person in the world, you don't know. It's completely anonymous. Right now, gas fees in Ethereum, which is the name of the currency that NFTs are currently built on, is extremely expensive. I created an NFT, cost me $150, and I only sold it for $200. Like, it doesn't make sense, actually. However, I just wanted to say that right now, Ethereum is working on something called Ethereum 2.0, and I'm currently working on launching an NFT and social token on something called the L2, which is, long story short, a new currency. It's just on the Ethereum sidechain called Matix, and the gas fees are like less than a cent. So just want to let you know, there are certain, currently Gary's actually on Ethereum 1.0, which it is going to be expensive. So maybe I should upgrade more money into my wallet. But I think there's going to be tools in the next year, maybe 2 years, that will solve this. Okay, so that was the first question. I wanted to say that. The next question is about the environmental issues. So I just wanted to say this real quickly because, you know, I'm someone that loves the ocean. You can see my surfboard. Like, I love the earth, and I watched like the Seaspiracy, and like, I'm honestly, Roberto, I'm your stereotypical Gen Z woke ass, like really just like about the environment. But that's literally who I am. I'm literally a stereotype of Gen Z. But it is really important to me. I grew up on Captain Planet.
What's that?
I grew up on. You don't know what Captain Planet is? You're saying you're like a super environmentalist, and you don't know what Captain Planet is?
What is that though?
Oh my god!
Like a show, a documentary?
Yeah, no, it was a cartoon from the '90s that kicked off the entire environmentalist movement of the '90s. Yes.
I wasn't born then.
I understand, but it's literally a historical turning point of mainstreaming the environmental movement at scale to an entire generation of. Oh my! It's
really?
Yeah, it's really really need to. If you're going to talk about the environment, like, I'm not trying to shame you. It's like, if you're going to talk about the environment, you got to know about Captain Planet, Jade. You really do. Like, the chat knows what's up. The chat knows what's up.
The chat knows. I'll just blame it that I was born in 01, okay, you guys? Okay, so, what was I saying? Captain Planet, I'll check it out. I feel like I need to brush up on my environmentalism. Okay, so as someone who deeply cares, and even Bill Gates last month, I think, even said that Bitcoin's bad for the environment. I wanted to look into it deeper. It's actually insane when I was looking into this, how much lack of data there is. I had to call up like reporters and researchers on the blockchain because there's literally no public data about this. There's one, I will link it below. There's one study about by Cambridge Analytic, the Cambridge Business School, about like ratio of how much Visa transactions in the banking system compared to cryptocurrency is. So let me give you this number. I think the first thing to understand with NFTs, cryptocurrency, and gas fees is, yes, it takes energy. Like everything takes heavy amounts of energy. Right now, this YouTube video you're watching and all the people you watch on TikTok take a bunch of energy. However, where are the conversations, right, about like, this is really killing the internet, like the earth, right? So there's another statistic is actually, there is data that shows that banking systems take 3x the amount of energy per year compared to cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. So it's really important to understand like where is the complaints on the energy systems on current banking systems. So I will link below probably that in the chat. I think it's first understanding like if this was a conversation around is cryptocurrency bad, I think it's important to understand like where do we live in a world where less energy consumption is what we want? Do we want to live in a world where we consume less YouTube? Actually, probably. But like we get off completely social media, right? Like removing social media, washing machines. Don't even start me with washing machines in the US. Could take a lot more energy than crypto. And I think that's the first thing to understand. I think that we're living in a world where do we want to live in a world that takes less energy and conserve more energy? Like, what do you tell a country like Bitcoin actually has the same energy per year as I think it's Sweden? Like, do we tell Sweden to shut off their lights because they're taking energy, right? So I think the reason why there's a lot of controversy is because right now Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is more as a fun little wealthy game, right? It's like it's not necessary, right? Washing machines, we can say save our lives a little bit in terms of time and energy, right? Like we kind of need it. But I think we're living in a world where right now it's just not as necessary for now. I think we're going to look and see the dollar become a bigger problem with inflation. And in a few years, we're going to be like, damn, we need a new currency, a universal currency that doesn't cause, inflation and a diminishing value. I think right now, washing machines take more energy than cryptocurrency, and we can justify that because it's worth it. And I think that for now, yes, maybe for someone average, when I say average, I'm even talking to myself, right? Like I don't have a lot of money in cryptocurrency. I just want to say that. I just think like as consumers, we're just like, it's not necessary. Artists not making money online is not necessary. But I think as more and more people enter the creator economy, we need to find a way to earn revenue. It's going to be one of the best ways to monetize instead of getting a job and drowning in student debt. I think Gen Z is like the worst generation for student debt ratio to income. I think it's going to be more and more in the next few years necessary. So we need to stop looking at it as like, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency taking energy, but it's like, where is this energy going to? And is it worth it? And personally, I do think it's worth it. And in the next few years, it's going to be more worth it. And the last thing I have to say is Ethereum is working on a proof of stake, from proof of work to proof of stake, which will reduce energy by a lot. So that's unknown to come out. I do understand that. But I think they're making efforts, and I really hope they do. There's also other currencies like Cardano that takes like 32 times less energy than Bitcoin. Because the computing is less complex in terms of the algorithm. So I think that, if this was a conversation around like, is Bitcoin bad? Is cryptocurrency bad? I think that we have to look at like, what type of world do we want to live in? Second, I think that we're making steps towards a more environmentally friendly technology. And the third thing is, sorry for all the research, you guys, I hope this is interesting, but I found out also that 30% of mining is done through renewable energy or hydrofuel. So there are movements also to where's the energy even being used? Is it coal? No, it's not coal. It's 30% is from renewable energy, and that number is going to keep going up year after year.
So that's astounding. That's great research, Jade, and everything like that. I actually have a few things to chime in on that.
What's that?
So everyone's trying to measure the environmental impact of like crypto and NFTs and all of this and so on and so forth, and they talk about energy and the impact and everything. And yes, I'm like for the environment and things, but I'm also practical because I'm humans first. But guess what? Agent Smith from the Matrix already solved this problem. He already figured it out. Agent Smith already from the Matrix figured this out. If you really are that concerned about it, you have to look and measure at the actual impact and the negative impact and cost of actually just being a human being. Because everything we're said,
really wasteful.
Washing machines, carbon emissions, the electricity for the transactions in our existing banking system, every single time a human being exists, that impact gets worse. So your actual answer would be eliminating humans. Agent Smith from the Matrix. I'm making the nihilist argument, but I'm not saying that we should be pro getting rid of humans. But think about it. If you're really serious, every time a human being exists and is brought into the world, there is a measurable cost of the impact of the energy consumed, because now you have another being of consumption. Because prior to the Industrial Revolution and all of the appliances and the global network and the internet and all of these things, humans' survival rates were lower, our lifespans were lower. We have, as a species, constantly scaled our consumption with our evolution for convenience. And in the 21st and 22nd century, that's going to exponentially multiply because of automation. Because what people have to consider is all these things that they're deeming unnecessary, Jade. No, the creator economy is going to be more necessary than anything in the 22nd century, because in the 22nd century, we will absolutely have more or less a post-labor. We will literally have a post-labor movement. We will literally be unless I'm cyborg, Roberto, because you and I won't be here in the 22nd century. You might, I know. I'll be here as a cyborg. Or I'll just finish my other 3 Horcruxes and I'll be okay. But the point is, the 21st century is seeing massive automation and job displacement. I don't know what people think we're going to have if people are not invested in an economy of ideas. The economy of ideas is the next 200 years that we can actually see happening, because there will not be, think about it now, the average job that pays well is no longer working out in a field or using heavy machinery equipment. It's sitting at a desk and managing logistics or coming up with ideas. The managing logistics is going to be done by the robots too, because they're going to be able to do the calculations. Look at Bitcoin and the blockchain. Any calculations, any accounting, any logistics, even legal services is going to be AI driven. So all the clerical work is going to be taken by AI. Almost all the manufacturing work is going to be done by AI. So you'll be left with the economy of ideas, and you'll be left with the economy of pampering humans through experiences, entertainment, and hospitality. Everything will be hospitality, aside from the trades where the detail work is just too specific for a robot or a machine, or it doesn't scale. So it will all be, we will only do work that either doesn't scale, will be the last of the trades, and the working with your hands will be the things that don't scale. Artisan work and crafts and things that are idea based in terms of art, physical art will still matter, physical media will still matter, because humans will just want to consume. It'll be a consumer experience, and people waiting on us hand and foot will still be something that humans do. We won't give all of that to robots, and other than that, it'll be the economy of ideas. It will be artists that rule the world.
Yeah, I think that automation, what are we going to do about it? But there's so many, not even jobs, it's not even jobs, but careers, creator economies that come through the rise of automation. I think more and more people are working for YouTubers. And that's so strange. YouTubers employing people. I think Mr. Beast employs 50 people.
YouTubers created in 2019. There's a study. I'm asking YouTube about a study that they did with a college in 2019. Did you know YouTubers created 300,000 jobs?
That's amazing. And this is not from YouTube. This is like YouTuber, like regular old people like me and Roberto. So I think
job creators out here.
Like, if you don't want to buy an NFT, we're like, this video is not a video about like buy Gary Vee's NFT at all. Although I might have to, but this video is just like, look at this world for opportunity. I think that you don't have to buy an NFT. You can work for an NFT community. I literally right now I'm seeing Discord moderators becoming the next job of the future.
Yeah, they're the new VAs. They're
literally the new VAs. Like, we hired just a bunch of amazing Discord moderators for the animator communities, and they earn money through not only like USD but tokens. And these are like financial assets that could be growing like Dogecoin in the future. This is not financial advice, but I think the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to participate in this NFT economy by buying anything. You can just also observe, learn, work. And that's why I'm trying to say, like, when people say like this is a game for just wealthy people, I could see that, because, you know, I can't maybe afford 10 ETH of an art drawing, but I can learn, I can work, I can teach, I can absorb all this information. And then one day I can afford that 10 ETH painting, you know? So I think that that's what I'm trying to make. You don't have to buy an NFT to participate in the NFT landscape.
But also creating. I just think we should encourage more people to create things,
Yeah.
because even if you're a quote unquote not a social media celebrity or nobody, these galleries and things, because like you could be a nobody and you could write a book today and you could end up being a best-selling Amazon author. Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, the gatekeepers and the publicist and the publishing houses all laughed at him. They weren't even polite, Jade. They cursed him out and told him he wasted 3 years of his life researching, writing his fantasy novel, The Martian, his science fiction fantasy novel, The Martian, about going to Mars. And then he went directly to Amazon, and the market decided, Jade, like 30,000 like sales of his book in like a month or two, which is not done for an unknown author. And then all the publishing companies had to come crawling back, and people got fired. People literally got fired. If you passed on this book and now it's a bestseller on Amazon, you're fired.
Yeah.
And then Miramax comes hollering for the screenplay, leading man Matt Damon. The rest is history. Andy Weir is one of the most successful stories of self-publishing and being a creator that there is. And that was with writing a book. And that's because Amazon as a platform exists and self-publishing as an industry exists. Now you can be a successful artist without a pretentious gallery owner saying whether you're good enough. The market can decide.
And with that, we're going to wrap up this live stream. Roberto, thank you so much for being on. How was it?
No, it was great, homie. It was great hanging with you.
Thank you so much, Roberto. Everyone go follow his YouTube channel. He doesn't need more clout. He has more subscribers than me. But you guys can follow my Instagram and his Instagram. We're going to do a follow part 2 potentially on Instagram Live yet to come. We did not plan this, but I think we should. So if you guys want a part 2, please like this video, share it to someone. I feel like such a YouTuber, but like, please let us know, because we can do a part 2, maybe diving into more questions about like how smaller creators can be involved. Because I think that's a huge discussion. Since right now it's very, mainstream. The things we're talking about are for mainstream celebrities. But Roberto, thank you. I will hopefully see you guys soon. And thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.